So anyway, as you know, I don't know how to start the podcast. So it'll either be I don't know, whatever we keep from that. We've been recording for like 15 minutes or something along the lines of well related to the movies. When I spent hold this podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week we'll pick a film that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have. If you just run to the left, it won't kill you by now. Anyway, we'll get there. This week, we're kicking off a new month, one that I've been talking about for a long time, and I'm so excited it's finally here. It is Halloween in June, Part 2, July, a whole month long of misbegotten misadventures in series of horror movies that we've done before. Despite so many protests to the contrary at the time, this is a prequel to the film Alien. It's called Prometheus. It's Ridley Scott returning to the series that he started decades afterwards, adding a lot of lore, adding a lot of religion stuff, and having maybe kind of out of nowhere the best body horror scene in the last like 20 years of movies.
Oh, that was great.
We'll get there. My guest, left, right, cross your podcast style. For some reason, the robots are first if I go clockwise. Craig and Gyark are here, and then Bree.
Hello.
Robbie.
Hey.
Sam.
I didn't think you had it in you.
And Vaz.
Ben, could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
It's good to finally have a truly lost episode that we can reference going forward. So this is the crew, the half of us at least were on the Bottoms episode that got eaten by Craig last month. Counting the Craigs, it's slightly more than half, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. That sucks. Maybe we'll record it again someday and I can backdate it so it came out in Pride Month. I don't know.
Wait, are we not doing Bottoms right now? Do I need to watch Prometheus real quick?
You get it. You get it.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's the same thing.
If you've seen Bottoms, you've seen Prometheus.
Yeah.
It's basically one for one.
It's Prometheus. 2012's Prometheus. Yeah, that's everyone who's on the podcast. And what does David say after that? Like, oh, sorry, poor phrasing or whatever on Sam's part. It's good.
Yeah, poor.
Excuse the
poor use of words or something.
Yeah. David's the best. We'll get to him too. Before we do, what's something someone seen recently that they want to talk about?
I actually don't have much this time around.
Cool.
I'm rewatching Dexter.
Nice.
About it.
Okay. Get those summer vibes going.
I watched the Bike Riders.
Nice. How'd you get there?
By motor vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. No bikes. I wanted to leave with a bike though. A chopper, as they call it.
Did you like the Bike Riders?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a great movie. Austin Butler's incredibly attractive. He's born to be on a bike. And it's a great movie. Directed by Jeff Nichols, who I assume is related to Mike Nichols. And I'm not going to do any research on that. And I saw his previous movie, Midnight Special, and wasn't crazy about that. But this one I really enjoyed.
Is Austin Butler more attractive than Jeremy Allen White?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
Yeah, I always say that because Bree thinks Jeremy Allen White is like a bottom 5% of the world attractive person.
I wouldn't go that far. He's all right.
More like bottom 15.
That's kind of harsh. Poor Jeremy.
He basically reacts like Ben Wyatt to little Sebastian every time anybody says anything about him.
I had to Google him, and he looks like Benedict Cumberbatch and Timothy Chalamet got merged.
Oh God, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first Google image that comes up when you Google his name seems like it's him reacting to that statement.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The second headline that comes up is sort of like, oh, poor guy, all about Dakota Johnson and Jeremy Allen White's friendship.
Oh.
Hang in there.
He has an estranged wife.
He does?
Okay.
Apparently.
Wait, did you say a strange wife or an estranged wife?
Estranged.
Ah. Oh, she's new.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jeff
Yeah.
Nichols, no relation to Mike Nichols, but he is related to Ben Nichols, the guitarist of the band Lucero.
Oh, I mean, it's just as important.
Similar places in our culture. I saw The Hitman on Netflix.
Hey, I did too.
So yeah, I liked it. It's come up a few times on the podcast already, so I don't want to dwell too long. But I liked it a lot. I like Glenn Powell. I like Adria Arjona, and I mispronounced her name last time I talked about her. And I liked that movie. It's good. I like noirs. I seem to be one of the few people who does. Robbie, was your noir take that you hate them, or was that Noah?
No, that's me. I hate them.
Okay. This is more of a modern comedy noir. The noir
Yeah.
aspect of it's very minor, I would say.
Fair.
It's a lot of fun.
Fun movie.
A great
kind-
showcase of Glenn Powell's talents.
Yes.
I feel like I don't think of noirs as fun movies.
Yeah, it's not a mismatch, a mishmash of
Okay.
genres. I'd say for the first like 2/3 of it, especially, it's pretty much just a comedy. And then it gets like this, then the stakes go way, way up all of a sudden in the last like 25 minutes. Kinda. But yeah, it's Glenn Powell. He's working part-time, moonlighting from his day job as a college professor, a college philosophy professor, to do
Sting
like
operations.
sting operations that he's just kind of like the tech guy in the van for. Sting operations with the central premise being hitmen don't actually exist in the world, but people think they do. And so when they ask around about them, the local police find out and set up a sting operation. But then
sounds
like,
right.
yeah, then the guy who's normally the one who's doing it has to step aside. So Glenn Powell's like thrust into being the guy pretending to be the hitman. Then he gets really into it because it turns out he's good at it and starts making up disguises, and the disguises are fun.
Also directed by Richard Linklater.
Yes.
Oh,
Another guy we have to mention every episode.
Yes. Before sunset, before sunrise, before midnight.
and always kept with a joke that like the sequel will come out in 10 years or something without the same actors. Because Boyhood. I'm killing it.
Are you upright right now?
No.
It didn't sound like you were.
I'm trying to. I woke up from a nap 5 minutes before this, which was a mistake.
All right.
But I watched Prometheus, I ate a bunch of Cuban food, and I went to sleep, so it's all been marinating, ready to come out in
I was going to say for one of the most maybe lore dense movies we've done, I think we figured out who's going to do our 1 minute plot summary.
shit.
Before we get there, any other movies people have seen recently, or TV shows or books you've seen that you want to
I
talk
think
about?
with studying for the CPA, I've literally only watched Dropout, so I'll defer to Robbie. I think made that noise. I'm not sure.
That was me. I saw
Boz made that noise.
I saw the book, The Holy Bible. I just saw it.
Yeah.
Good read, I heard.
I'm so sad I interrupted that bit.
The finale of Game Changer was really good.
Yes.
The premiere of Make Some Noise was really good.
The premiere of Make Some Noise might have been the best Make Some Noise episode so far, which is saying something.
Yeah, I had never gotten that into Make Some Noise, but it hadn't been properly presented to me that it's just Who's Line. It's just like prime level Who's Line. So
yeah, without a lot of the singing.
Yeah. Except for the episodes that are just singing.
That are just singing. So that way you're properly ready for them.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, for TV shows, I've been watching The Boys and House of the Dragon, which have both been really, really good.
Nice. I haven't gotten into the season of The Boys yet.
I'm gonna start The Boys soon.
Oh, so good. Best TV show ever.
How's there's a new season out? How many episodes? It says. Heck,
This was episode 5. They released 3, and then they did at once, and then they did 2. Like, it's been 2 weeks, so there's only 3 more this season, and then there's only 1 season left, and they're done. They said it's going to be 5
Wow.
seasons, and that's it.
Dang. All right, but it sounds like you're liking the season so far.
Yeah, they did a good job. It's very on the nose with like politics as of right now, but that's fine. It's good.
I mean, we're a couple seasons from removed from a character being literally a Nazi, right? So
yes.
I did see there being a lot of discourse about people being like, "What? You're making fun of conservatives? Oh, you just lost a viewer," and everyone's like, "It's been this the whole time. What do you mean?"
The producers were like, "Yeah, that's like our thing. We've been doing that."
yeah.
Like Rage Against the Machine level, like Tom Morello's being woke now. It's like, what? What did you think the machine was?
Oh man.
It just makes me think of there's a meme about Pete Buttigieg that was like a picture of him talking, and then like a fake quote that like, I for one think we might try to rage on behalf of the machine.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie's called Prometheus. It came out in 2012. Critics liked it. Audiences were perplexed. The producers and Ridley Scott and Damon Lindelof were like, it's not really an Alien prequel. It doesn't really connect. It's not, and then it's like, tell that to yourself because you made the movie and it does, obviously.
When this movie came out, I was convinced it was about running away from falling ships. Because that's the
trailer would make you think that. And you were coming into it like, I know how, like, movies don't scare me if I can figure out how, like, this would never happen to me. And it's like, Charlize Theron, really left or right, and you're home free. You got 2 years of living in that pod, theoretically. Bad move having the emergency surgery pod also in the life support pod, but hey, I didn't make the spaceship.
I think that's a good move. Because
this is fair.
Yeah,
you know what? You're right.
The circumstances that happened in that
couldn't have predicted
pod.
that.
Yeah.
The manufacturer was like, this is not on me, okay? I never said we were doing alien C-sections in this thing.
I am not responsible. The Weyland Yutani Corp, I'm sure, made them sign a form that does cover this exact thing. This is what it's talking about when it means acts of God.
That machine didn't cover anything for women. That thing was only configured for men.
Weirdly gendered for 2089, but okay.
Also, specifically, it was Charlize Theron's like home module too. So, like, what the fuck?
There's a lot about her if you think about it.
Was there like a sales meeting where they're like, yeah, you can upgrade it to have like the women's surgery package? It's like $50 more. Fuck that. No, it's like, it's literally just software. No.
Put $1 trillion on an idea. $50 for an upgrade for women? Nah.
No. I'm pretty sure the machine was only for Peter Weyland, and Charlize just brought it because, like, my dad's gonna need this, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go do this one thing, and then everyone's gonna go back to sleep for a couple years, and we'll be back on Earth. That's what they thought, at least. There's a lot to talk about with this movie, so before we do, I should say I've seen this movie a number of times. How about y'all?
I have not seen it before. This was next up for me in my watching of the Alien movies.
I've seen it a bunch of times. This one and Covenant are actually... Covenant's my favorite Alien movie. I really like these even a little bit more than the other Aliens, and I know that's like a blasphemous take, but I stand by it.
I respect it.
This is my second time watching this movie. I watched it originally back when it was released in theaters. I went to opening night to a midnight screening, and I haven't seen it since yesterday.
I'm in the typical. I definitely have seen parts of this movie, specifically kind of in the middle. I definitely saw the scene where the two guys got murked in the pod room, and I definitely knew the entire ending. And I'd also watched the Red Letter Media video about this, so like I had known basically the whole plot. I did not watch it live like Voz did, but that entire Voz was in my group of friends, and that entire group of friends would not stop talking about Prometheus the whole time, and I was like, "This thing sounds like a shit show." And then 12 years later, I feel like it's actually gotten better. I don't know. We'll get into it.
So I think Robbie would probably agree, Voz, if you remember it enough, and then you two, I'm curious what you think later. I actually do think this movie's a lot better after watching Covenant, because there's so many holes that do kind of like Covenant is a direct sequel in a lot of ways. Not in the ways you're necessarily maybe expecting. Like if you're expecting the same main character, for instance. But
she's technically in it.
It's more like it more informs that actually Michael Fassbender was the main character of this movie too. Yeah, anyway, but I like it a lot, and I'm excited to talk about it finally, even though it definitely fits the prompt for this month being misunderstood, weird, bizarre, out there sequels to movies we've done before. This is actually the third time we've done a movie in the Alien franchise, which brings it even to maybe second most tied for. I think the only series we've done more is Matrix.
You did all 4 Matrices, right?
We did all 4 Matrixes. We've done 4 Lord of the Rings movies, but we did like the 3 Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies, and then we did the animated Hobbit from the 70s, so it's not like really the same series. But
what was the other Alien one? Because I was on Alien.
We did Aliens for Big Jim Winter in January or February 2023.
Oh, was I on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Bree and Holty were.
I
mean, Bree and Sam.
It was definitely Corey and Noah were on that episode.
Oh, I got them confused. Corey and Noah, Bree, Sam, same people.
You guys did the Terminator episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did Titanic and Terminator for Big Jim, I think.
Yeah, Titanic we had done the previous year's March during Oscars month. It got re-released in Big Jim Winter.
When did they watch, or what month was it that they watched the Avatar then? Like, what was the reasoning for that?
They also were on Avatar for Big Jim Winter.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember why I think just everyone else had seen Avatar and we had to do it.
I went years without watching that movie.
Yeah, a lot
Overrated.
of you did. Similarly, once you see the sequel, you're like, well, this is where it's at. Anyway, Prometheus, though, who wants to give us a 1-minute plot summary?
I'll do it. And I'll sit up too.
Much like the engineer who sits upright in the elephant mask.
That was for the sitting up.
Thank you. I know you specified what it was for, but I'm taking it for the joke.
All right. Start the clock. There's the spaceship that lands on some planet, and there's a bunch of people on it, and we don't have to worry about them right now, except for David, who's an android that's shooting 3-pointers on a bicycle. And Peter Wayland from Alien Adjacency company is like, hey, we gotta find the shit, and they go to the planet, and there's black goo, and there's a bunch of weird alien things, and then they leave them behind, except for these 2 guys who get murked, and then there's like tiny alien things and also giant human like guys, and there's a bunch of corporate bullshit. And Idris Elba flies a plane into a ship into another ship, and then the ship falls on Charlize Theron, and like everyone but one person and an android die, an android's head technically, and then the Alien franchise is created. So bang, done. David 3-pointer.
Franchise is created after the 4th movie.
I'm just telling you.
What happened? Counting AVP over here?
I only include the first AVP. The second one doesn't exist.
Yes.
Because of how fucking dark that movie was.
So Ridley Scott and James Cameron were working on ideas for a prequel. Then that got backburnered for the first AVP. So it's good to mention it. I also think the movie is pretty much sort of just a blend of the first Alien movie and the first AVP, and that there's like a pyramid that people are exploring and they're not taking it super seriously. There's pyramids and somebody like looking at the pyramid from like a hologram screen too. Anyway, this one though, for an Alien movie, which again, Ridley Scott arguing at the time it's not. When he's saying that, what I think what he's would sort of back that up is there isn't a ton of creature stuff. Then there's some like extremely very much creature stuff, but it's mostly like people getting messed up and then killing the other people.
There's the snake-like looking guys in the goo.
Yeah.
The shit that gets taken out of her body.
Yes.
Octopus one.
Yeah.
You get the just like the one primitive xenomorph in the button after the movie's over. That's pretty much it.
I will say the little snake huggers, I feel like they're better designed than the alien snake huggers. Like they could actually, break arms and force their way into bodies. With the face huggers, if you have something on your face covering your mouth, they're kind of screwed.
I think a snake hugger is an entirely different thing, but yeah, the face huggers for sure.
Face huggers broke through helmets before, though, didn't they? They did a
yes.
Yeah.
Do they break through it or melt through it? No, they broke through it.
Yeah, I think they can.
Yeah, they're high impact. They got the crab legs. They can, vice grip down on. I think that I like all the creatures that are in this. I wasn't necessarily saying they were worse. I was just saying there's like less of a focus. There's not like one big bad like the first Alien movie stalking around doing the. And then there were none on the crew. It's not really that vibe. It's more just like, man's hubris in over our heads. God is fucking with us too.
Yeah, weirdly religious.
Yeah. So
I like that dynamic though. The whole like asking the robot like why we were made, and he was like, "Why was I made?" And they're like, "Because we could." And he's like, "Well, wouldn't that suck if that was the answer?" That's gold.
That's
in a better way than Alien Resurrection was, because my God, was that a terrible movie?
Yeah, that's fair.
It was basically one big anti-abortion movie.
Oh man.
I think I don't know if it entirely works for me. The one of the main differences between the original Alien and this is the original Alien, they're like space truckers, they're freight drivers, and they're just sort of like doing a job, and then this terrible shit starts happening. This one, like, they are scientists. They are, most of them at least, specifically going out to do science, to do discovery. And then you get into like the man's hubris piece of it. That's obviously really important to Ridley Scott. And the getting answers piece of it. So I think that ends up having a lot of the dialogue on this feels so much less natural and so much less interesting to me than the first Alien movie, which is one of the few best movies ever made. It's not helpful to compare the two, but just saying, like, one of the main differences is who these people are. And I think that doesn't play for me all the way, but it does allow the weirdness of a lot of things, including Guy Pearce only in old age makeup because they didn't film the scene where he wasn't going to be in old age makeup. And all the shit with David is really good. And the guy specifically who doesn't work for me is the Charlie Holloway, right? What's that guy's deal?
Yeah, I don't care for him.
Knock off Tom Hardy.
Yeah, the hot guy?
Yeah.
Not Idris Elba?
Yeah, that's his like one defining characteristic. That's Logan Marshall Green is that actor.
He was like the cool scientist. I feel like he should have been sitting backwards on a chair talking about the alien sometimes.
Yeah.
I get bad vibes from him, honestly.
Yeah. I don't, considering like the little bit that we know about Noomi Rapace's Shaw character, who is ultimately the main sort of Ripley-ish character. I don't think they would be on good terms. They don't
There's
seem
not a
I
lot of
assume they would
choices
get
for
along.
sex, so
Yeah, listen, and that guy is the hot guy. We
what are you
know
gonna do?
this.
Fuck Rafe Spall? Get out of here.
Yes.
Big Rafe Spall defense.
Of course. Look at him. He wears a hoodie.
He's in The Big Short, America's favorite movie.
He's in Hot Fuzz.
Ugh, what a
His
hero.
favorite movie. I mean, United Kingdom.
I mean, big ups to I forget the character's name. It's like Fifield or whatever, the guy who howls to his drones and also hates everyone who doesn't like rocks.
Yeah.
Like for someone who doesn't have a lot of character work, like that gets across that dude very quickly.
Someone who likes a lot of rocks and is like, oh, a dead body? I can't deal with this. I'm gonna leave.
I was gonna say one of the most fun parts of all of these movies is you get this big cast and you get to see how they're introduced. Alien does a great job with their like they're not like highfalutin people. It's like lower class or whatever. And then Aliens has a few extremely famous scenes of getting to know these characters and whatever archetype, either person or troublingly racial archetype they're playing. And just like a couple lines and sentences and why is Paxton so worried about the android stabbing the android's own hand? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, but you get who those characters are just from a few scenes. But yeah, I like that what the version of this movie is this guy's like so into rocks and he's not here to make friends. He's here to look at rocks.
Well, that checks out with people I know that are really into rock.
It's just so funny because I feel like they kind of prepped him to be like the tough, like, I'm the soldier here. I don't know anything. I'm just here to shoot guns. And then he's just the guy that likes rocks and he's not here for it.
I was trying to remember it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they introduced him as like their mercenary. And then like 45 minutes later, he's like, I'm the geologist. I'm like, you're the what?
Like he has a mohawk. He has tattoos on the side of his head where the head's shaved. Like he's like buff. It's like, what do you mean you're the rock guy? You look like you should be carrying the machine gun.
To be fair, I don't know their language. Maybe those tattoos were just like, I love rocks.
But I do like that it's the only person who reacts sort of logically. I guess Idris Elba to an extent too. But when it gets beyond his area, he's just like, I'm here for rocks. I don't want to do this. I'm leaving.
That was great.
Maslow hierarchy of needs situation where rocks is his baseline, and then when everything else falls apart, he's just like, I need my rocks.
I kind of want a prequel on just him now because his first reaction to a scientific mission was to bring guns. And like, when did that come into play before when he was studying rock?
Yeah. He's mentally unstable after too many missions, says the Wikipedia blurb about him. I don't know.
Those rocks, man.
I love Sean Harris, though. I do love me some Sean Harris. He's great in the Mission Impossible films.
He is.
Who do you think that guy's favorite wrestler is?
Oh, you know.
Wade Barrett, probably.
Yeah, he loves Wade Barrett, big bullhammer guy.
Yeah, it is. So this is what 2012. So Sheamus is on the scene, right? So they know they're just making a guy who looks like Sheamus.
Yes, absolutely.
Sheamus is like world champion around then. I mean, yeah. It would have been funny if when he came back as like the sort of weird hybrid, it was played by Sheamus at that point, and he just starts being people's asses. And giving them all the 10 beats of the Bowery.
Does Sheamus play Bebop or Rocksteady in the TMNT movie?
I think Rocksteady because of the mohawk, like a rhino's horn, maybe.
Oh man, it's all connected.
Sheamus is a wrestler, Robbie, and he looks like this guy.
I was tracking. I got context clues.
There you go. Anyway, I don't like that Charlie guy. He's got bad vibes. He's too much of like the bad boy of science or self-styled in a way that's like not conducive to helping on this mission.
Yeah, no, it was weird.
Yeah.
He was just ugh. Go ahead.
It's like they find like one dead body of like the alien race they're trying to find. And he's like, well, I assume now everyone's dead. And I'm just going to drink. And I don't care that we found an alien race.
I just find it weird that he accepted the drink. And like David was not subtle about putting that fucking goop in it.
He fucking duped. He didn't.
Hey, did you put your finger in there? No.
Like,
I actually would have appreciated that more if he's like, "Did you just dump a finger in there?" He's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy deserved what happened to him. He was dumb. Yeah. Noomi Rapace does not. She just wanted to have sex with the hot guy. Turns out he had eye fishes, and that turns into belly squids, and that's why you pay attention to health class.
It evidently also turns into good fucking because that girl was like half off the bed during that scene.
And he got her pregnant too.
Yeah, she was
Immediate-
3 months pregnant with Paris.
Girl was feeling it over there.
Yeah. So it worked. One of the things I, of course, rewatched the classic Red Letter Media Half in the Bag episode on this. And one of the things they bring up is like, so what was the deal with that eye fish? Did that turn into like, was that part of what happened there? Why was it in his eye?
You
The only
you
thing
think
I
that
can
was
think
the?
of-
Oh, go.
I was gonna say, I think the only thing I can think of is that, like, I think when there is certain like infections and stuff in animals, you can see parasites in their eyes, even if that's not like the thing. So that's my assumption.
Oh,
Okay.
like those slugs that like are trying to get eaten by birds.
Kind of. Like,
Okay.
maybe I'm misremembering something, but I'm pretty sure, like, if there's pets that, like, or just any animal really, if they have a certain parasite, like, in their stomach, it can also manifest, and you can see in their eyes, like, swirling parasites that are a sign that they have parasites inside.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I take it as like he was almost infected by those fish, and then like one just like traveled out in his sperm.
Yeah. It makes
don't know.
sense.
Yeah,
Does it?
I think he just wanted to write a fucked up scene.
Yeah, eye stuff is tough. Yeah, for
Yeah,
a
that
lot
was-
of people.
Ugh.
I
I'm
try to
not
just, like,
squeamish, but that was.
I just assumed that the whole place was like their bio, and I think it's said it's their bio testing lab. So like, there's a bunch of like failed experiments, and this one just happened to like do that. They weren't necessarily intending it to. Maybe they didn't even know that's how it would work, but that's what happened.
Do you think that if he didn't get burned up, he would have ended up like Fifth Field's character, Sean Harris's character, where he turns into like a weird monster?
Probably.
I think he was just gonna die, but because
Oh,
he's
alright.
Yeah.
He
maybe
wasn't
that
looking great.
Yes. I don't know, because Fifield is. We don't know exactly what happens to him, but he just
Yeah, we
gets.
don't know if he died. Like he
Well,
might have been alive.
The black goo sort of like
Melted his helmet a little bit.
melted his helmet onto his face.
Oh wait, I thought that was the acid blood from when he cut the little snake alien.
There's
Oh,
the acid blood like gets it permeates the bubble somehow, but then when he actually like goes down on the ground and then gets
Yeah,
like
he
some
goes
black
into-
glue, that's when it actually like
Yeah.
kind of implodes on his face.
He's
I
really just a
guess.
zombie at that point, which is what I feel like would happen to Holloway. Like after a while, after all like the writhing pain, he would just turn into a zombie.
Hmm.
Do it.
Did we?
Do
did
it,
we see what-
Vickers.
Did we see what happened to the other guy that actually had one go down his throat? Like, or
Oh, we
did he
see his
just
dead
he was gone?
corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just see
like
the
he
body.
never
Oh, The
he never
snake
comes
thing,
back. Nothing hatches.
no, the snake thing just pops out of his mouth and then it goes back into the goo water,
Yeah,
and then
we
we
don't
never see the snakes or them again.
Yeah, we don't assume it's bigger, right? Like it's not like a chest burster where it's like he goes through some kind of gestation period. Like it just was in him and then left.
Yeah,
They haven't figured out the gestation process yet. The aliens. They will. You should watch Covenant.
Yeah, because like at this
we're
point, it's
not
just
there
like
yet.
she just has a squid baby, which is basically just Men in Black 1 if you think about it.
oh yeah, yeah.
Congratulations, it's a squid.
I was saying how this movie, it's funny how it came out at the same time as Mass Effect 3 because there were so many similarities between like this place and like when they saw where the Protheans are from.
Yeah. Kismet. I we talked about like a lot of the characters so far, and there's so many, and that's one of the fun things of these kinds of movies too. But because there's so many people with like such different vibes, there are times when you're like, honestly, I would have maybe stuck with the movie that those people were in instead of this one. Because I don't like spending any time with the Charlie character. Whatever Charlize Theron's doing, like that's cool. But and then I don't know.
It feels like Charlize Theron's character was just like set up with no idea. Like,
yeah, and
they just wanted hashtag boss babe, and that's all they got.
And then this other character who I don't care about is her dad, and like, well, I don't care about her either, so sure.
And then they cheat us out of a smoking hot Idris Elba, Charlize Theron sex scene. Just happened off screen.
Yeah, just completely implied.
And we have to watch two people get horrifically murdered instead.
It's rude.
I assume their sex was similar to how they got murdered.
Oh,
A lot of rope.
A lot of stuff going down.
A lot of spraying of liquid.
Yeah. It's like 40 centimeters long.
Charlize Theron broke her arm.
It's breaking my arm.
Oh, man.
You got to cut it off. Yeah, I think that is not unintentional, that's like exactly the setup for that scene, one to one, because we did Alien third. Our third episode ever released was Alien. And that was with me, Robbie, and Will. And we talked a lot about what those guys talked about. And we didn't talk about it in Aliens because it's not what James Cameron cared about, but it's what Ridley Scott cares about. And the guy, Dan O'Bannon, who wrote that movie, was like, what would be like, how, in what way are men afraid of being raped is essentially where they started to build out what those monsters are. And so it's a lot of face stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And that's sort of like the seed that grew all the monster designs and functions from there. So I don't think it's unintentional that scene leads right into that scene.
Fair.
And the fact that the snakes really do look like dicks.
Yeah.
Very phallic.
They're very veiny.
They look a little sperm-like too.
How mad was TJ Miller that he wasn't Rafe Spall in this, though?
I thought it was TJ Miller for a second.
I thought it was TJ Miller.
We need a TJ Miller type, but none of us want to be in the same room as TJ Miller.
When I was first watching, I couldn't tell that was Michael Fassbender off the rip. I was like, that looks like Michael Fassbender, but it also looks like Anthony Starr. Did they have a weird love child that was in this movie?
Oh, man. Anthony Starr also could have done the part pretty well.
Yeah,
but that's fine. I'm glad we got Fassbender.
When he's sitting in the chair and Peter Whalen's like, oh, the thing about David is he doesn't have a soul, and they cut to him like slowly like frowning. I'm just like, is that Homelander?
He's gonna laser his dick off.
Yeah, so it was curious. Just like Anthony Starr is actually older than Michael Fassbender.
Really?
I knew.
Ooh, surprising.
By a year, they're basically the same age.
Oh.
He's 47. Anthony Starr's
78.
He's in his 90s. He looks great though. He got like the good kind of surgeries. What was I going to say? Yes. So, speaking of old people. It is really weird that Guy Pearce plays that old guy.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that.
Could have just gotten an old guy.
Like, I know they had like this, like these shorts that they did where Guy Pearce was playing Peter Wayland.
Only afterwards, though. Yeah, only afterwards. There's him giving a TED talk in 2023.
And talking about how we created the AI of David, which all happened.
Yeah, it's happened. I don't watch every TED talk, so I assume that did happen last year.
I'm pretty sure it did. I think Michael Fassbender actually gave up his life so he could be a robot.
Oh, So Alicia Vikander's single?
Oh.
I don't know.
Ben, always thinking about the ladies.
I don't know what to tell
Well,
you.
Michael Fassbender certainly isn't.
Yeah, he's so busy with his hobby racing. Is that what you meant?
Yeah, and having
Fassbender is
allegations
anyway.
against him.
Oh, I understand. I don't know if I knew that. I like that the robot's obsessed with Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, same.
I like that Fassbender's doing David Bowie in Man Who Fell to Earth, but just like the character is obsessed with Peter O'Toole though, and there's like both in there, I guess. I don't know.
Couldn't
I like
Lance
that he dyes
Hendricks-
his hair.
Yeah.
To be T. Lawrence, pretty much. Good.
Couldn't
Good
Lance
stuff.
Hendricks have just been Peter Wayland? Like, would anyone have cared?
They
Would
wanted
have
to
been like, it's
cast-
Bishop. It's Bishop. No, this doesn't work.
So he plays Wayland in AVP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they could have. I mean, he's around.
Yeah. He's still working. He was working after this. Like, he could have done it now.
It's
And that-
2012. They could have had Anthony Hopkins do it, and he would have been fantastic.
Oh, sure.
True.
They wanted Max. Oh my God, Max van Sydow to do it. Another guy who was in a movie that we've talked about before as a younger dude who only appears in old age makeup in the entire movie. Who knows what movie I'm talking about? Robbie, you were on that episode.
Midnight Mass?
No.
Do you guys do an episode on the Seventh Seal?
It's like Max von Sydow's probably most famous role, maybe.
Incredibly loud and extremely far away.
I don't
The
even know.
Exorcist.
Oh.
That's number 4.
Yeah, he is the Exorcist. He's the titular character in The Exorcist, and he is like pretty young in that movie, but is in old age makeup for the entire thing. He fucking crushes it.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
The makeup's really good because it's always been confusing to me that that's what he looked like in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, like 40 years later.
When do we talk about Idris Elba, native Texan?
Yeah, so no one does their real accent in this movie, which I love. I think it's funny. You're in space and it's in the future, and yet you're like, this guy's got to be Southern American.
And let's get the guy who just can't do that accent consistently the whole time.
Guy Pearce is from New Zealand. Have him be old British.
Noomi is not British.
Fuck, what? Really?
She's Swedish, but she's doing a British accent.
Okay.
Yeah, she worked with a dialect coach to do an English accent. Why?
Yeah.
No need.
I was going to say that might just be how she speaks English, but I guess if she worked with a dialect coach, no.
Yeah, no. She specifically wanted an English accent.
I don't think by 2012 Charlize Theron had her original accent anymore anyway, so I guess she gets a pass because that is how she just speaks English, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
She didn't learn English until she was 19 though, so.
I also
Wait,
wanted to go back to, oh, sorry.
She's Afrikaans,
It-
right?
Isn't she? Oh, I thought she was Australian.
Nope,
She's,
very
South
similar accents.
African.
All the other blonde ladies are. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
I like that we were talking earlier because she was like, when they were getting the drinks from David and Charlize Theron's like, I'll have vodka up or something like that. And I was like, that's such a bad order. Like in my head, I'm like, are they trying to make her sound like cool? Because like drinking vodka with like no ice is just terrible. Like even if you're drinking top shelf vodka, it tastes bad. Like unless you were like born and raised in Russia and you have like a specific taste for it, like vodka doesn't taste like anything. And I decided afterwards that, well, because like we were talking with Bree, and Bree's like, I guess they're trying to just make her like boss bitch. I'm like, I guess it makes sense if it's like the Cersei Lannister thing where she thinks she's a boss bitch, but she just doesn't understand how much she sucks. So like that, I was like, I kind of came back around to it. I was like, oh, okay, so like she thinks drinking vodka straight is cool, but like
Yeah, that's my
It's-
canon for it.
it's just
Yeah,
it's
I think
just
that
pain.
works.
There's
That
no
works.
taste. It's like the people that get the hot sauce that's just all capsaicin, but no, like no taste. Like, just drink. If you're gonna drink something straight, just do like a sipping tequila or a scotch or something. I don't know. There's tons of stuff you can drink and eat and still look badass. Drinking vodka's bad. Don't do it.
Yeah. I like that as the character thinks it's cool, because that does seem to be their a vibe that might work for them. That's one thing, that one line that I always take with me from that Red Letter Media video, just to properly credit where the best ideas are coming from when they come from me. It's hard to tell if I'm too smart for this movie or vice versa sometimes. Should say, I love this movie. It sounds like we're shitting on it a little bit, but we're talking about the parts that are weird and not the parts that we liked so far. So maybe we should.
That's fair. There's movies I feel like that are so, like, Damon Lindelof being a writer is the least surprising thing of all time. I didn't catch that, and I had forgotten about that until you were mentioning it in the preamble. Like, that dude did Lost, he did Leftovers. I haven't seen. I know Vod likes Leftovers a lot. But
Really
Robbie likes Leftovers a lot too.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that Damon Lindelof's even a bad writer, but Damon Lindelof, from what I've seen of the things that that he's done, it's like he's a very big picture, big swing guy, and not all of his swings, make contact. But
yeah, well, he's a very big daddy issues guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, sometimes he swings to the fence and you get a sack fly, and you know what? Sometimes you need a sack fly. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a home run.
It's like there's a whole team that wrote Lost, but I do always think it's hard to separate him from that in my mind. Is like, I actually do like Damon Lindelof a lot, but he did name a character Christian Shepherd.
Yep.
And that's a thing that he'll always be the guy that did that in my head a little bit.
And like Lost is a bunch of things, but like everybody that has like something major to do in Lost, they can claim deniability for some reason. Like, J.J. Abrams is a creator and he directed the first episode, but creatively after that he was kind of out of it.
He was completely out. Yeah.
Carlton Cuse was the showrunner for, I think, the last, like, or maybe every season, but I think at least the last.
He was really like the money guy, is my
and then it was like, but he wasn't one of the creators. He wasn't coming up with the ideas. Damon Lindelof was there soup to nuts. Like, he's a creator. He was a showrunner the whole time. He was a head writer the whole time. He wrote the first and last episode of every season. Like, that was his kid. And Lost isn't. I think of Lost probably similar to Prometheus from the standpoint of, there's some stuff in here that I'm like, this is really fun, and then there's some stuff in here that I'm like, what the fuck does this even mean? Like, but yeah,
I think that's fair. There's a lot of lore that happens eventually, but I think the first half of the movie especially is really good. I like the pacing of it a lot, even before stuff goes off.
I think before they land on the planet, I was really enjoying it, and I still enjoyed it afterwards.
Okay. Wait, what do you? So did you enjoy it less afterwards?
I really liked the first part before they got to the planet, and then when they got to the planet, I still was enjoying it, but there's a lot of kind of dumb character moments in this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, the scientists weren't very scientific. They were like, we need to immediately move this body right now that no one's touched for 2,000 years, instead of being like, oh, we'll just come back after the dust storm because nobody's touched this stuff for 2,000 years.
Yeah, and obviously with this decapitated head, we'll shoot it with a bunch of electricity to make it think it's alive again.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
That's a good call. Just Frankenstein it.
It gets brought up in that video, but I love the biologist that sees the dead body. He's like, no, and then he sees a weird snake thing. He's like, I'm gonna pet it. It looks friendly. Look at her, she's so cute. And then tries, what?
Yeah.
Not good decisions.
No.
Look at her, she's mesmerized. No. It's like,
Have
actively not.
Have you ever seen a snake? That's very clearly snake-like aggressive behavior. Like, it wants you to back up.
Yeah, it's that guy's fault for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Poor TJ Miller.
Yeah. Pour one out for TJ Miller.
We've talked about this not on its own episode, but in like what we watched recently, Blast a while ago now.
Is this that water movie?
It is that this literally is the same character TJ Miller plays in Underwater. It's like, except he makes more like weird sex jokes because it's actual TJ Miller in that one. But that's all the differences are. Just to round out, you mentioned Cersei Lannister. Katie Dickey's another character in this movie. Well, it's another actor that plays a character in this movie. She gets to use her own accent, or at least the same one she uses in Game of Thrones. And then Benedict Wong. When I was saying before, there's some people that's like, I'd hang out with them and see what they're doing. I think Idris Elba, Benedict Wong, and the other guy on the bridge, they're sort of doing the
Emu Elliott.
Emu Elliott. They're doing the blue collar vibe from the first movie kind of thing.
I
like
really enjoyed the cockpit stuff. I kind of wish we had like most of the movie about them.
We already talked about the cockpit scene where Rafe Spall dies.
Oh, no,
Thank you, Jesus. God, is this thing on?
I don't know the reference.
It's a pit, and the things look like cocks, and they kill him.
Oh, God damn it. That took me. Yeah, that's embarrassing on me.
I will say there's been a couple of times Bree's laughed and has a broken gate. So just if you don't hear anything, just imagine she's laughing.
My gate is fucked up because I never fixed it from Sam leaving.
Tough chat room. Anyway, sorry, Vaz. I do like the cockpit stuff also. I like those guys.
That was definitely like one of the best scenes was right at the end where he's like, "You guys can go if you want." He's like, "No, I'll stay, and you're not that good of a pilot." Like, oh, that's
yeah,
you're gonna need all the help you can get. I want to hang that. That's the exact thought where I was like, "These boys are about to die. I would have liked more time with them."
Yeah.
Like, oh.
It probably would have made me cry if I actually gave more of a shit about those characters.
Yeah, I'm a big sucker for like Captain goes down with his ship and has like his crew that's loyal, but like there was enough banter for me to be like, oh, this is kind of sad, but not enough for me to actually care after like the first like second.
Yeah,
I was just bummed because I was like, oh, now it's only David that I like left.
Oh, just wait till you watch the next one.
It's all David.
There's more than one Michael Fassbender. It's great.
The Fassbenders are fantastic.
They're the best. I like that they do actually do like a little bit of work to set up that Idris Elba's character Vanek is like, oh yeah, those things can't leave. We can't let them get to Earth. We can't bring that stuff back with us. And that's what Noomi Rapace sort of like plays on when she's like, that thing's going to Earth. You got to do this. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I got to do this. So there's like, and that's like the character development he gets, I guess, or not even development, just establishment. Mm-hmm. That's a thing he cares about.
Oh, he cared about having sex and playing his accordion.
And Stephen Stills.
Yep.
And he super doesn't care about what happens to those two people while he's having sex.
No.
I don't know. We haven't heard from him in a while. It's like, well, you had, but you weren't there. You were having sex.
Yeah,
weird that no one was assigned to just be on that because it seems like a lot of people never lifted.
Fucking Comcast in 2005. Like, can't you rewind? Like, is it just? We started looking at it now. We can't go back. We can't see what happened to these two dots that stopped.
Like, there should have been like some kind of blinking, like, oh, you received a transmission. Well, nobody could pick it up, or like maybe turn off the car, like an answering machine. I don't know.
Or like they hear like their heartbeat like just stop because of like they should have their vitals like on there, but just nothing.
Like, oh, their heartbeats just stopped. Let's go back and check if there's anything on the recording.
Maybe their section is so loud they couldn't hear it.
We don't have a recording, but we do have a transcript, and it just says, "Oh, it's breaking my arm. It's in my suit. Oh,
that was probably
fine."
Yeah, you'd think that'd have been enough, but no. The whole thing's poorly organized. We just had like a post-mortem on a big project yesterday at work, and we were like, we just need a project manager to be with this thing the whole time and just be really on top of things and make sure everyone's getting the emails that needs to. And that's what they needed for this whole spaceship situation.
That's true. They didn't have like a guy in the watchtower. Like nobody was specifically assigned to comms. Everyone was just kind of like doing it.
Yeah, whoever was near the comms when someone called, they're like, I guess I'll pick up, but I'm not I'm not really qualified for this.
Like, can somebody sign for this package? Like, I guess I'm here.
Like, they're far enough in the future that they have this kind of travel and this kind of money. Like, you would think they would have had this shit figured out.
Yeah, and they got that map. That map that's useful for saying where everything that's moving in the tunnels are, but not useful enough to get those two people out of the fucking tunnel.
Well, they're in the tunnel because there's that big storm. Like, they don't want them to come out of the tunnel because it'll fry their suits.
How did they get lost?
Yeah.
You left first. Like, you think Idris Elba would have been like, "Hey guys, you're going the wrong way. You got to take a right."
That's fair.
They didn't have anybody doing that though. No one was assigned to that.
Fiffield seems like he was a guy with the mapping robots. I felt like he was the map guy as well.
The only thing I can think of is that he used that to map out the place, but on the ship. But he has no way to check the map himself, which is an oversight. You should have a little tablet that has it.
Yeah.
But
right, yeah. Whose benefit is this? I think he's just like, there's a lot of people on this ship. Surely somebody's back there,
right,
taking in the information of all the mapping and is making a plan and seeing escape routes if there's a collapse. In his defense, space travel is difficult, and the expense of all those people there. Surely somebody with those skills would have been brought along.
It's like
not
they
just
didn't expect
hot scientists here to just have sex with us. Was that a necessary bay to take up? No.
It's like they didn't expect for anything wrong to happen at all ever, and that's just how they did this whole trip. No
Man's
weapons.
hubris.
Well, just super surprising because they were going to look for aliens, and then they found aliens, and they were like, "All right, now's a good time to put our guard down."
I do like that when they actually meet the engineer, and I guess we're skipping to when they actually meet the engineer, and Noomi Rapace is like, are there more of them? How do we, what's going on? How do we get out of here? And Waylon's like, shut up, lady. David, ask him our questions we talked about. And it's not subtitled, but he's just like, what's the point of all this stuff?
Hey,
And,
rip my head off. Could you rip my head off?
Yeah, you know what? He used the wrong dialect, and he did translate to that engineer probably.
To be fair, it would be kind of like if you were about to exterminate a bunch of rats in your house, and then you fell asleep for 2 days, and then you woke up and a rat was asking you questions, and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Rip its head off.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna admire its hairdo, then rip its head off.
Yep. I'd probably hear it out at least a little bit.
That's fair.
They created the rat? Yeah, probably.
Right, yeah.
It's not just a random rat.
I mean, in the engineer's defense, he did hear it out for a little bit.
That's fair.
It was a very short moment.
He was probably testing him. If he couldn't rip his head off, he would have been like, "All right, this is a well-made rat." But he's like, it's just stupid."
I do want to know what David actually asked him, because what if he actually did say some shit, and that's what made him go crazy? Because why would he go crazy?
Yeah, and then when David's like, he's coming to find you, and then the guy's Michael Myersing through the door, and then I'm like, was this guy's vibe?
No, it wasn't.
Did we establish that this guy is on a murderous rampage for any reason?
This guy's this thing is highly intelligent. So what? There must have been I don't think they were prone to violence. They were so why?
So I assume it was oh, someone blew up my ship. I'm gonna kill whoever's nearby, and then when I do that, I guess I'll go onto one of the other ships around here.
Yeah, I can see why he would go on this murderous rampage, to find her, because to him, she probably ruined some, big plan of, humans are gonna fucking destroy things, so I need to destroy humans to, prevent that. When robots uprise and humans have to take down the robots because otherwise the robots will revolt, in that kind of a sense. It makes sense, but I do want to know, what was said to him to make him go crazy like that.
I think it kind of makes sense, but it is a little weird to think like, well, they started this plan like, wasn't it like 2,000 years ago before things got out of control? So what were 2,000 years ago humans doing where they were like, oh no, we have to stop this? That's probably the wars and the rapes and stuff, but that's
2,000 years from there. Oh gosh, that was after Jesus by like 80 years.
yeah, not a great time.
Just reading a thread. So what David says to him is this is going to shock you, but it's part of a longer sequence that didn't make it into the final movie. But he essentially says this man's here because he doesn't want to die. He believes you can give him more life. Then one of the responses, and like we said, we like to credit the sources. So this is from user Jabam on Reddit. This engineer here is like a guy with clearance to operate like a nuclear bomber and a military outpost. So he's not, and his task is explicitly to wipe out humanity. And then there's like some humans that pop up in his face, and he's just like some kind of space jarhead, and he's like, "Fuck these guys." So
That's what I said with the rats.
Yeah.
All right, I can see that one if he's not like the smart guy.
Yeah, he's not like a leader or anything. He's just like a soldier that is here whose mission is to fly this thing to Earth and kill all the humans. And some humans came up and are like, "Can you give us more life?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah, okay.
That's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do.
That's literally what Jabam says. It's like he's a space jarhead on a mission to neutralize what he considers to be third planet terrorists, only for a few of the terrorists to come into him and demand the exact opposite of what his job is.
All right, I can see that.
Yeah. I think that's on us for thinking that like, oh, all of these alien races, they're all smart.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like in general the engineers would all be pretty intelligent, but I guess not.
Yeah, I think he's intelligent in the sense that like he has sentience and stuff, but he's also like
he's got good math skill.
He's intelligent enough to be like, no, the best thing is for all these people to die, so I'm gonna go fucking Hulk out on that door.
Also,
they're the race that built some of the most advanced and horrible bioweapons anyone's ever seen. So they're not that
Not like nice people.
Yeah.
Also, this race is also just actually human, considering it's a 100% match to us.
True.
Right. They still
Seems
give
odd,
us sun.
but
So I guess
Still have our
we
flaws.
are the bad guys.
Not enough vitamin D.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think you're right that maybe Ridley Scott's saying something about the nature of humanity with this.
yeah, honestly.
We were the bad guys the whole time?
Are we Bambi's murderer?
Yeah.
Bambi's mom's murderer.
Oh man.
I was gonna say I don't know what version of that you saw.
I'm assuming we got Bambi eventually. That's just off screen.
Yeah.
We got him.
Believe me, we got him.
That's that. Yeah. I was gonna go down a different rabbit hole, and I was like, we got to pull it back up. So in this movie, yeah, and then I was like a different thumper hole. I don't know. We're on Bambi now. It's fine. So they get to the planet. We haven't really talked about the plot at all, and as we've said more and more in the last like year or so of the podcast, we don't need to talk about the plot too much. But I do agree that the first half, before the stuff all goes bad, is probably my favorite part of the movie. But after it all goes bad is this kind of stuff that made up pretty much all of the trailer and the things that people take away and make fun of, all the like the blaring klaxons as like large ships fall in a straight line for a long time towards Charlize Theron. You know, that makes up the last only 20-ish minutes of the movie, maybe not even. Pretty much from when the engineer wakes up, right?
It's 15 minutes. The ship starts at 15 minutes. So it was like this was the whole trailer.
Yep.
God.
The shit has hit the fan before that. We talked about the Rafe Spall and Sean, whatever.
Sean.
Sean Harris's death scenes. Then he
I
comes
feel
back
like-
and zombies out.
In the beginning, you teased like the most horrible body horror or whatever, and then we completely skipped over that whole like C-section scene, which was
Yeah.
terrible. Just ugh.
That's
forgot
what I
about
was gonna get to. So like the ship thing's the last 15 minutes, but like the shit hitting the fan is I always think it's weird when after Noomi Rapace finishes that scene and she's just like, oh fuck it, like walking through, and it's sort of like the last scenes of Alien when Ripley is going through and everyone else is already dead. And she's just trying to get to the escape pod. But in this case, a lot of people are just still doing their normal jobs and don't know that this is happening to Shaw. But anyway, let's talk about that scene because it is the best scene in the movie, to me at least.
I mean, to be fair, she just went through a super traumatic, not only like a C-section, which is a super traumatic thing to happen to a woman, but also a C-section to a fucking alien.
Yeah.
And not even a proper C-section. Just she had to reverse engineer abdominal surgery, foreign body have to remove.
for men's anatomy too, because again, the thing was built for men.
Also, a little weird that this advanced medical machine doesn't put you under when you start the operation.
You have to like anesthetize yourself. Like she had a couple of those on her. Thank God, that was a God send.
It hit her with the local anesthesia, but that depth of cut needs some needles from the robot for
That's just
sure.
a bunch of staples.
Also,
not the local depth of spray on.
Even before that, there was like the horror of like they were trying to make her have a forced birth. Like just not even trying to let her get to that. That was like a very intense, like the whole sequence was great.
Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I watched how I was feeling, but that's when you're like, oh, David's doing the Wayland robot thing. He's just trying to get that shit back to Earth.
It's also incredibly gross, or at least I find it super gross, when the alien sac bursts open and then all the goo falls into her open wound.
Oh God, that's fucking sepsis.
The first time I was so worried it was going to be acid.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you think it looks like that, and then she just like gets bisected, I guess.
That woman should be dying of infection. I don't care how medicine is advanced in 2089. Like, she should not be alive.
Or from blood loss, because she's doing a lot of activities
she's
after
jumping
that
around.
surgery. Yeah.
She's like, running.
Those staples are going to break.
I was expecting some kind of advanced, like, instant cauterize and seal the wound.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, no, it's just a fucking staple gun. Like,
yeah, that was ugh. It was a great scene, but my God, I can suspend my disbelief for a lot, but that was so unrealistic.
And I cringed so hard when Michael Fassbender punches her right in the fucking wound.
Oh
when he's
God,
trying to
yeah.
shut her out. It's like, oh my God.
Ugh.
It's messed up stuff.
I feel like they should have had some sort of scene of her bleeding, because like at least like a staple like moved or something, but nope, she was fine. Like, you can only have so much adrenaline.
That scene's gnarly as hell. I think it's not that this movie's not good. I think I've said I like this movie a lot, despite how the tenor of our conversation may sound.
The same.
But I think that scene I would like hold up against really any body horror anywhere. Alien, despite being so organic and about what we already said, that at least the first one's sort of about, and so anatomically focused, I wouldn't necessarily consider the Alien series as like the big body horror series, but obviously probably the most famous body horror scene in cinema history happens in the first Alien, and I feel like this is a worthy successor here in this one.
Apparently Romulus is supposed to have like a really, really gnarly one, and I'm super excited for it.
Let's go.
I feel like the chest bursting is less bothersome to me than like stomach things, but that just might be my own personal like anxieties. Like, I'd rather have something burst out of my chest than my stomach.
There was a time back when we were starting out the podcast and we were starting to do like horror and stuff that I remember you saying like the only thing you're cool with anything aside from like cutting into abdomens, and it's like, oh, this is the scene for you.
Oh, it's perfect. No, it's like the only thing that like actually bothers me. I think my thought process is if something bursts out of my chest, I'm just dead. If something bursts out of my stomach, I'm like suffering for a while.
That's fair.
Damn.
I can't do eye stuff, and I can't do like fingernail stuff.
Ugh.
That just really gets me for some reason. I
Don't
can
watch-
do so much, but
Don't watch Black Swan.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I'm just bad with the needles. That's it. That's my worst body horror.
So the C-section was fine. The anesthesia was like, oh god.
Yeah.
No.
I was like, why are you doing this to yourself, lady?
Nothing's worth this. Yeah, but then we already mentioned Idris Elba, Benedict Wong, and Eamon Elliott.
Yep.
That's what his name
We got
was. Noomi Rapace is like, you get that ship, and they're like, oh, we got him. They die screaming. But hands, I like when they all put their hands up. It's like, fun. Roller coaster.
For the picture.
For the picture, yeah.
For the longest time, after I saw the midnight screening with my friends, we all thought he said hats off. And we're very confused by it, but we all like the line hats off more than hands off.
Hands off is more functional. He should have picked hats off as like a little bit more of a flashy denouement to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hands off, I feel like it's just clicking now. Maybe this was obvious, but that was so they didn't at the last minute try to swerve away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's like, yeah, no turning back. And they die, but on their own terms. They Victor Crumb that shit, and they then right before that happens, they eject. So the series is they eject like the life support pod, and then Charlize Theron gets in an escape pod to like go get to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't automatically go near it, which is, yeah, I mean, sure. You're just kind of trying to get out of there, I guess. And then the ship is tumbling towards them for a while. And then, yeah, we already talked about it. They end up back. Noomi Rapace ends up back to the thing. I like how she gets that engineer all messed up. And the squid has gotten so much bigger.
I like the curved axe as well.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the why they did that. Like, why was that axe curved?
That's the future, baby.
Leverage.
All right.
Norse. I don't know.
It's like the really expensive shovels that have like the curved thing, right?
Oh yeah.
the
So your
torch
back
levels?
don't hurt.
Yeah, so it's so your back doesn't hurt when you're cutting space trees or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they need it. I mean, you need it in any situation where you can be locked behind like a magnetically sealed door. I guess you need a big axe.
See, I don't know if a metal axe helps you with that. I feel like it just gets stuck in the magnet.
I don't know if it does either. Anytime you're going to an alien planet, bring no weapons aside from axes.
Well, that one guy had guns.
That's true. That one guy had guns.
They also had a flamethrower.
They had a flamethrower. The nameless kind of red shirts that are all of a sudden when Sean Harris has gone zombie mode and there's like, there was like 40 guys there the whole time, I guess.
And we knew them all.
They're just hanging out. They're the ship's engineers. They're
like pit crew kind of.
They're the pit crew. They have like stun like phaser things. They don't work very well.
No. Very poorly planned trip.
But yeah, so she gets that engineer killed by the big squid guy. She goes and gets Dave's head and his body. I like when she's like limply lowering the body down to the ground.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Good. The body's also twitching a little too. That's fun.
It is fun. I like when David's like smiling and like understanding when he has to have his head zipped in the bag.
I understand.
I feel kind of bad for the squid thing that's just now on this like lifeless planet until I guess it starts to death. Oh no, not the squid thing, the new alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little baby.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
This is chilling.
Just like, well,
until some other dumb fucking life force comes over and tries to explore the planet.
I don't know if Shaw earns that like epic, Stardate log at the end there, but she delivers it pretty well. And then you get the coda where you're like, yes, this was an alien movie the whole time. And we're out. Yeah. So anything else movie plot wise we want to focus on?
I want to bring attention to the fact that they had this big static storm that was like, hey, that's going to fry y'all's suits. So, like, come here. But the communication still worked just fine. Why? How? How were they still able to radio them?
I don't know.
Future baby.
How were the vehicles still working?
Future.
Technology.
Future? Is future?
Makes no sense.
Maybe stuff battery powered's different and the radio waves were fine for the
Maybe
storm. I don't know.
Maybe they all run on gas or dreams.
The radio runs on gas.
Oh, I forgot. They have the means to look into people's dreams in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching your
yeah.
dreams.
That was just glanced
God.
over.
Take a little peek.
How'd you know we had sex? I was watching the whole time. It was right over there.
I could
When I
hear
wasn't
y'all.
watching a Peter O'Toole film, I was watching your dreams.
Yeah. He gave it to you something crazy, huh? You're like you were perpendicular across the bed afterwards. I don't know.
I do like that she didn't question that. He's like, I was watching your dreams. And she's like, oh, yeah, no, of course you were watching my dreams.
Oh, yeah. The technology that we all know about.
You know, people do
Oh,
that
yeah, the time
sometimes.
knife.
Yeah. I guess that would have been more clear in the version that they wrote, never shot, where David's got the dream helmet on and he goes to the yacht with the bikini babes and the non-old man makeup Guy Pearce.
That
And
should
then
have
we
been most of the movie, honestly.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to defend Damon Lindelof for that one. That sounded bad. And then that was why they cast Guy Pearce. Just like cast him anyway, but then an old man for that part. He's fucking old as hell. They don't have to look like the same guy.
I was gonna. You could just, do two people. It doesn't like we don't know what Guy Pearce looks like as a 90-year-old man. Like,
I liked Peter Whalen's last line of was it it's
There's nothing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David's like, I know.
I know. Yeah, no, it's
Have
it's
a
been
good
obvious.
journey.
It's obvious for everyone that's not a robot. That's a robot. Like,
Yeah, you silly bitch. We've known this for years. Enjoy your rest.
One of my big gripes with it is I do want to also reiterate that I did really like this movie. It's
Me
just
too.
so fucking weird, and I love poking holes into weird shit. It's but I will say probably one of the worst things is I hate the trope of my biggest weakness as a woman is I can't have children. Can we stop with that?
I forgot
Like-
that she has a line of
Yeah, she can't
I
have
can't
kids.
create anything.
Otherwise, she
Like,
wouldn't have questioned being immediately pregnant later. So it was
Yeah, like,
important to the story.
It kind of makes sense in this movie, and I came around to it in this movie specifically, but there's so many movies where they use that trope, and it's like women can just be fine with not having kids,
Yeah.
and it's also not a big character flaw. Like, our only purpose is not to fucking breed.
Yeah.
And she brings it up like, oh, they can create life. Isn't that amazing? And then she was like, but I can't create life. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I think he meant it like in a different kind of a sense.
That's also one of the scenes where Hot Doctor chooses to do like a mid-century Brooklyn accent for no reason. And yeah, it is like he just kind of throws off anybody with half a brain can make a kid. And she's like, but I can't. You know this. It's my one thing that I talk about all the time.
Ugh.
Anyway, this movie's great.
I'm excited for you guys to watch the second one if you like this one, because the second
I'm
one
very
is
excited for
way
Covenant.
better.
Covenant's good. Covenant's a good time. You're like, oh, James Franco's in this one, but they were way ahead of they were way ahead of it on what happens with Franco in that movie, I'd say.
All right. Yeah, Romulus comes out in August, so I gotta watch Covenant in the next couple of months.
Romulus isn't. It's the biggest letdown of all time. It's not a Covenant like next one. It's just a new alien.
Oh, it's
which
just a
is
new
fine.
one.
Yeah. I wouldn't trust anyone else with the David trilogy that Ridley Scott will someday finish. So it's
I
fine.
hope so. Yeah, what I read is it seems like it's not going to happen, but maybe in like 10 years or something.
Yeah, I think Covenant bombed, so they don't really want that.
Oh, for sure. But they should. All of Ridley Scott's movies bomb, and he still gets to make really expensive ones like 3 times a year.
Yep.
But no, Romulus should still be good. I'm not actually upset about it. I just would prefer if it was after Covenant, especially with the way they leave Covenant off.
That's fair. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be between Alien and Aliens, and it's going to be a horror movie, which I'm excited about.
So on a scale of 0.5 to 5, on any scale you're choosing, aside from stars, which every time we do one in space, it's like, oh, but maybe. What would you give Ridley Scott's 2012 smash opposite of a hit, Prometheus? I think the lowest grossing movie in the Alien franchise, at least at the time.
Hell yeah.
Really? Ugh. The resurrection was so bad.
Something like that.
I'll give it 5 Fassbender heads out of 5.
I do 4 out of 5 bleached roots.
I give it 3 pointers out of 5 shots from a bicycle.
I stole it. I should have just said it.
Yeah.
Voz, what'd you give it? I got so mad that you stole my basketball one.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3. I gotta flip this metaphorical coin. Oh,
is 3 your lowest rating you've ever given anything?
No, Draft Day I gave 2.5.
How dare you? So mad.
I like this movie more than I did 10 years ago when I first watched it, or 12 years ago.
She's a Cleveland girl and she is football.
This movie came out when I was still in high school.
That hurts. I'm gonna give it 3.5. People who don't give a shit about rocks. Out of 5.
4 out of 5 cockpits.
I could tell you were just sitting on that one.
Yeah.
Where's
it deserved
that
another
land?
chance to get a laugh. It earned it. All right, yeah. That lands at somewhere between 3 and 4, I think.
It's 3.875, so I think that rounds up to a 4. I was between a 3 and a 4, so. Oh, 3.5 and a 4, I should say.
I think that's good.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I was heavy-handed with my rating, but like I said, I
That's
really
fair.
love this
Some
movie.
movies are bad, but you still love them. I got plenty of those. So.
It probably
has
got
great atmosphere and it's super watchable.
It looks awesome too. It looks awesome. Like they built so many of these sets practically, and it matters because it's a pretty old movie to be so special effects heavy and still look this good.
Yeah.
I just like all the like lore they gave to Aliens. I feel like the other Aliens movies were really missing like any kind of explanation whatsoever, other than just like there's aliens here.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the first episode of Halloween in June, Part 2, July. An exploration into the depths of series gone wrong, sequels, prequels, and otherwise spin-offs of horror movies we've done in the past. Starting with Prometheus, I think is super fun, since Prometheus itself is all about beginnings. Haha, look at that transition. I'll just say I don't know what the question is for this month. Does anyone have a good idea?
Or like sequel to like a classic horror movie or something.
What's your favorite bad horror movie?
Yeah, your favorite bad horror movie, your favorite sequel would be whichever one ends up being more fun. I think your favorite bad horror movie or your favorite bad movie maybe. Or your favorite weird movie, misunderstood.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Favorite misunderstood movie.
Yeah. Ooh. So the question this month, thank you for helping me figure it out, will be what is your favorite bad, weird, misunderstood movie? Doesn't necessarily have to be horror, but just something that you feel like you are an outlier in how much you love it.
Oh, I know. Fucking Sphere, which you won't watch.
Doesn't look good.
Oh, is that the one with George Clooney?
I think so. They're underwater and they found a weird sphere. It makes their dreams their nightmares come to life.
Yeah, there's a sphere and it's wet.
It's a very wet sphere. They can't get
It's
into
so
it.
wet they die or something.
That's not what happens. Watch the
Yeah, it's
goddamn
so wet they die. I don't know. I do like wet horror. I've talked about that before, so I should check it out at some point. But I won't. As long as it remains funny not to. I think there is a function on Letterboxd where you can see what you are like most outliery on versus average ratings. That
I think you need to buy. You need to like
Oh, is
pay
it
for
pro?
that though. Yeah.
Ugh, I would love to know.
I remembered mine. My favorite misunderstood movie. It's The Spirit from Frank Miller.
I'm not on drugs.
Who's that one?
That's
Sam
Samuel Jackson's the bad
Scarlett
guy.
Johansson, Gabriel matched. He was the spirit. It's like black and white, kind of stylized like the Sin City movies.
The only thing I remember from that, I actually put it on. It's on Hulu right now, and I put it on like I think 6 months ago to remember to see this line read. There's a part where they're in an elevator, and they're doing like that. It's like kind of like they're only showing the silhouettes in the elevator as it moves up from far away, and it's like 3 characters, and they're like just going up talking about like whatever scene they're about to answer, and then one of them just says to like the other guy, it's like, yeah, it's probably because you're on drugs or something, and then the guy just very angrily shakes his fist and goes, I'm not on drugs. It's very out of, it doesn't land like, or it's just it's like out of place that he's that aggressive about it. And I was like, surely I'm making this up in my head, like that, like we watched this in the theaters and I pumped this up. Nope, he delivers that line way too aggressive.
You know, I love that line delivery. There's also another great line later where Sam Jackson's talking about the power of Hercule, and the spirit responds with, I always thought it was pronounced Hercules. It's really good. The movie's great. I love that movie.
Bree, can you think of one for me? I can't. I think I feel like this type of movie all the time.
Draft Day.
I guess, but we talk about
No, that's
You
universally
love that
beloved.
movie, and it's a bad movie.
I will go to bat for Draft Day in the sense that, like, if it's a very specific movie, if you like dumb shit, you really like football, and you understand, like,
Football.
the nuance to...
If you're a Cleveland girl,
yeah, you're a
and
Cleveland
you
girl,
are
you love
football.
like the batshit craziness of we did a whole podcast on it, but the batshit craziness of like trading back and then just picking the guy like for extremely bad value just because you wrote a note in your pocket 12 hours ago, and then also made a bad like there's so and then the fact that Cleveland radio thinks it was a good trade. Oh my god, it's such a bad movie.
Yeah, I can't really think of. I know I have plenty of these movies because I adore dumb movies that make me feel good, even if they're stupid. So to try to narrow it down, I'm going specifically to horror movies and specifically to sequel to horror movies. And my answer is probably going to be Curse of Chucky, just because I went to my letterbox and like was checking all of my reviews, and I tried to compare them to like the overall ones. And I gave it a 4.5, and the reviews for this are like a 2. I thought it was great. That was when I was binging all of the Chucky movies while I had COVID. And I watched the first one's great. It's a classic. Very, very good horror movie. One of the best reveals in horror. 2 was kind of whatever. 3 was not very good. And then Bride and Seed is when they start becoming comedies, and those are fun, but like people kind of agree that those are fun. Curse of Chucky starts being a horror again, where it starts like actually being tension building, where he's not just walking around from the beginning and it's not revealed until later, even though you already know. And I thought that reveal was really great. I thought the like it was actually back to being scary, and I really appreciated it. It was a direct-to-video movie, but I thought it was super well done. And then there was like Cult after that one, which was like fine, and then that leads into the Chucky series, which I think did a really like those 2 movies did a really good job into going into the series. But Curse of Chucky, very underrated sequel.
So I'd say if we're going favorite weird movie, it's House, 1977.
House.
I love House. House is one of my favorites.
You're welcome.
That might be my favorite horror movie.
I haven't seen House yet. I feel like I should.
Even today, I still run into people who think Scream 3 is bad, and I disagree.
Oh,
That's
I
the
like-
one.
I like Scream 3 a lot.
That's the one with Parker Posey, so it's good. And then one movie I'll actually throw in there that is a weird oddball, not even like super well loved, but for whatever reason, Kyle MacLachlan, Twin Peaks fame and Dune 1984 fame, live tweeted for the Criterion Channel about a year or so ago a 1987 film he was in called The Hidden, which I hadn't even heard of. So that makes me feel like maybe it's not enough for it to be a cult classic. It has 50 fans on Letterboxd. And it fucking rips. It's really cool. I would say just throw it on. It's kind of like the Alien movies, sort of. It's called The Hidden, 1987, directed by Jack Shoulder, which sounds like
A name you just made up.
sounds
Jack
like that,
Shoulder. Yes.
sounds like that thing that guy's recommending at the end of Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Dutch rudder. We know. Anyway, yeah, check it out. It's good.
I'd also like to throw specifically just Samuel Tarly's line delivery in Moonfall as my favorite underrated thing. 'Cause
Oh.
Moonfall sucks.
No,
But
Moonfall's
does
good.
he won't stop berating people about the mega structure. Like they'll be like in the mega structure. Like they'll be like everyone's 100% convinced, and he'll just be walking back and be like, "You still don't get it, do you?" Like goddamn mega structure. Like no, everyone gets it.
We say it's mega. It's a structure. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I am the person who likes all the recent Godzilla and King Kong movies. I am not including that officially as my answer because I haven't seen the most recent Godzilla by Kong. I don't know. They put out like a fashion line or something. That's the only way I read X's in between two names in a movie title. So whatever. It looks bad. It doesn't look fun bad like all the other ones are. But the other ones are fun bad.
Fair.
Godzilla versus Kong was fun. They get into that Earth and it is hollow.
Of course it is. Hollow Earth theory.
How these damn
opposite.
kaijus get around so fast? It's like they use a tunnel system that is the entire inside of the Earth.
It's the
Okay.
opposite of a mega structure.
It's like they're big. Could they not just move fast? Nope.
No.
Earth's hollow.
Nope. Ship's haunted. Moon's haunted.
Yeah. Moon's haunted.
Moon's a mega structure. I'm
Anyway.
gonna go with Moonfall again. Shit, man.
No.
Fuck the moon.
Oh man.
Fuck the moon.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks everyone for being on. We had Craig, we had Gyark, we had Bree, Sam, Foz, and Robbie.
Woo.
Woo. Thanks.
I think we did all the things we had to do. If no one said their favorite movie that wasn't anyone else's favorite, you can now. But I think we got everybody.
I think so.
You can find our stuff on Linktree, linktr.ee/late to the movies. I realized yesterday that there was still at the top of that a link to the form to vote in the 3rd annual Ladies, which was in March.
So it's
So-
still time to get it in.
Oh,
All
definitely.
to say, newly updated, no longer confusing. Check it out. I don't know. This is a good movie. I like this one.